Hello dear students, welcome back to the science class. Today we are moving to our sixth chapter, that is our nervous system. We have studied in our last chapter there are many organ systems in our body that help in the different function of our body and which forms this organ system, they together form our body. Different organs are joined together to form an organ system, and one of the organ system, the nervous system, it controls all the functions and all the other organ systems in our body. And what are the organs in this nervous system? That is brain, spinal cord and nerves. So we will study about the three organs separately and their different functions and how they together help in controlling the different functions of our body. So first one, we will start with the brain. Brain, you know, it is the control center or it is the main control of our body, and it is of course enclosed within the skull, bony skull, and in an adult human being, the brain almost weighs up to 1.4 kilo, and it is made up of millions of small cells. And between the skull and the brain, there is an empty space which is filled with a liquid that protects the brain from sudden injuries or sudden jerks. Now let us see about the different parts of the brain. The brain, it has three major parts, that is cerebrum, cerebellum and finally medulla. These three parts, they have different functions. Okay, so first let us see about the cerebrum. Cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain and it is like a dome shape. Okay, dome shape, it means like an umbrella, and it controls the working of different sense organs like seeing, hearing, speaking, etc. And also cerebrum, it is the center of intelligence. That means it controls our ability to think, learn, remember, etc. So I will repeat again. Cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain and it is a dome shape and it controls different functions related to sense organs like hearing, seeing, speaking, etc. And it is also the center of intelligence which controls our ability to think, learn, remember, etc. Now the second part is cerebellum. It lies just below the cerebrum and it controls all the muscle movement in our body, and it also provides balance to our body. So cerebellum, it has two functions, that is it controls the motion of different muscles in our body and it also provides balance to our body. If the cerebellum it is not working properly, of course the movement in our body, it will be affected. And finally last one is medulla, which lies in the lower section or the bottom of the brain, and this medulla, it connects the brain to the spinal cord. And what is the function of this medulla? This medulla controls all the involuntary actions in our body. That means, for example, breathing process or the heartbeat, then circulation of blood, etc. They are all controlled with the help of medulla. So this medulla, of course, it will be active even when we are sleeping, because even when we are sleeping, our heartbeat and breathing, they all continues. So medulla, even when we are sleeping, the medulla portion of the brain, it will be active. So the three main portion of the three main parts of the brain are cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla. Cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain and it is in the shape of a dome, and it controls the different actions like seeing, hearing, etc. And it is also the center of intelligence which controls our ability to think, learn, remember, etc. And second portion is cerebellum. It lies just below the cerebrum and it controls the different movement of the muscles and also give the balance to our body. And finally medulla, it connects the brain to the spinal cord and it also controls the different involuntary actions in our body like heartbeat, breathing, etc. For the proper working of the brain needs oxygen, and if there is enough oxygen for our brain, of course, the brain will not work properly and we may fail. And brain also needs good rest, and sleeping provides good rest to the brain. So remember those two things. Our brain needs both rest and oxygen for its proper working. You should also ensure enough sleep to provide rest to the brain. So these are the different parts of the brain. So now we will move to the spinal cord. Spinal cord, it is a group of nerves or a cluster of nerves that is arising from the brain and which connects the different parts of the body to the brain. And it extends from the medulla or the lower portion of the brain and till the last of the vertebrae or the final end of the backbone. The nerves from different parts of our body are connected to the spinal cord. So when there is a message from any part of the body, the message first reaches the spinal cord and then it is going into the brain. And when there is a message from the brain to other part of the body, first it go into the spinal cord and from there it is moving to different parts of the body. So the spinal cord is actually a pathway between the nerves and the brain. So the spinal cord, it is a cluster or a group of nerve that is arising from the brain and which connects the different parts of the body to the brain, and it extends from the lower portion of the brain, that is medulla, to the lower end of the backbone. So we have only now discussed about the brain and spinal cord. Again, one more is remaining, that is nerves. We will see how these messages are transferred from different parts of the body with the help of this nerves and spinal cord to the brain, and how this brain and the spinal cord and the nerves together controls all the function in our body. So thank you all, and we will meet again in our next class.